important to watch, like, 'cause these arguments, you're going to see these arguments out there. You probably have seen them already, whether it's at, online or in real life. And Tucker Carlson, formerly the founder of the Daily Caller, this was the website that had posted, I think back when he was probably still editor, had posted the stories on how you should drive into...
that was Fox Nation, but they posted stories by
Daily
Kessler.
Caller did too.
Oh, really?
Yes. Fox Nation and Daily Caller both put stories about driving into protesters. The Daily Caller actually had hired and housed John Kessler. He was the organizer of this rally, Unite the White or whatever it was, Unite the Right. He wrote about Richard Spencer leading white nationalist demonstration in front of a Virginia Robert E. Lee monument. He wrote about it for the Daily Caller. Trump supporters vow to rally in Berkeley without Ann Coulter. Uncle MS-13 gangsters mutilated Virginia teenagers in grisly murder. So they had Kessler on the payroll. Tucker Carlson had the author Steve Parker on. Federalist John Davidson on, and how they talk about, what is really why we see this white nationalism, white supremacy, neo-Nazis. It's because the left pushed us into it. It is as if history started 5 or 6 years ago.
I don't like about some of these white supremacist groups is that race is at the center of their worldview. And I don't want to live in a world where race is at the center of the worldview. But I see the same on the left. I see people with signs attacking white supremacy, or it's always about race for them as well. They seem
Pause it for 1 second. Now, I understand why Tucker doesn't want to live in a world where race is not at the center of his worldview, because he doesn't have to. Because he's a white guy from a very wealthy family and is never had a moment in his life where power, where something more powerful than him has made him conscious of his race. It has never happened a single time in his life where he has had to contemplate his race within a dynamic where he had less power than what was going on. And so, of course, he doesn't want to be there. In fact, I would argue no one wants to be put into a position where they have to contemplate their race because their achievement, their success, their safety, their health is a function of their race and is on the line. No one wants that. But it's the reality for a massive part of our society. Continue.
As well, they seem every bit as race obsessed and angry as the people they're fighting, but don't acknowledge that for some reason.
This is what happens with with identity politics. If you push identity politics, eventually you get around to identity politics for white people, which is a dangerous thing in a country that has a huge white majority. And this is why the left...
Do you understand what they're saying here? That the rise of white nationalism, the rise of white supremacy is a function of the identity politics of presumably non-white males. It's as if there was no slavery. It's as if there was no Civil War. It's as if there was no Jim Crow. It's as if black people and women weren't left out of even the New Deal. We could go on and on. It's as if there was no fire hoses. It was as if there was no lynchings. As if women weren't chattel in this country. This is the amount of delusion if they believe that white supremacy is a function of the ERA or the Black Liberation Movement or the idea that black people got the vote, I got news for you. It predated all of it. It predated the founding of this country.
Racism's just so alien from America that it usually needs a prompt.
Continue.
Has been sowing these seeds of what's happening now for a long time. Are they surprised that eventually some white people are going to say, yeah, let's do identity politics, and we're going to have white identity politics? It's all poisonous garbage.
No, but this is the terminus. This is the end. What do you think happens when you force people to line up by their immutable characteristics, by race? You think you're not going to wind up with every group doing that? Of course you are. This is what identity politics looks like on left and right. Why does nobody make that point?
And
Pause it.
Totally
I'll tell you why nobody makes that point. Because nobody is as craven or as, and you can't be this stupid. No one is so craven as to think that people will not have any sense of history in this country. That identity politics started with white people. The term white people is a function that black people did not create. It was ensconced into law in this country by white people. It's unbelievable. And I have no doubt that there are people who watch this and just shake their head. But these two guys know. And it really is, sometimes it's just like when they're just calm and sitting there and spouting such unbelievable lies that it's the most creepy. Continue.
Of course you are. This is what identity politics looks like on left and right. Why does nobody make that point?
And it's totally un-American, too. America is not about ethnicity. It's not about national origin. It's about creed. And there's no place in the American constitutional system for identity politics, left or right. Plain and simple.
Thank you for saying that. You'll probably be attacked as something for doing so, but I'm glad you did. John?
Well, I want to make it clear. I'm actually attacking you. I'm actually attacking Tucker. Your guest was just sort of like, oh, what can I say so I can get back on Tucker's show? But I'm actually really, I don't even care about who John Davidson is. Davidson. He was great when he was hosting Real People. Was that the show that he did?
No clue.
All right. Hi, folks. Sam Seder here. We still need your help on our Patreon page. YouTube ads have come back, but not nearly as much as we had before. So if you can help us out, any little bit helps. Head over to our Patreon page right at this URL, and you'll help us keep helping you by making videos